Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Today let's talk about Nintendo suing the creators of Yuzu, the popular Nintendo Switch Emulator. And this was spotted by Stephen Totillo. I hope I didn't butcher his name, but this is his X post. And it got the internet talking, and I also want to talk about it. It's because I'm a fan of emulation, and I think this lawsuit, has a big impact on the future of emulators and emulation in general. So that's why I really want to talk about it. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a legal expert, so I'm not here to give legal advice. This is just my take on the situation and my opinion. If you have a different opinion, that's fine. Please let me know in the comment section below. So this is the lawsuit document. I'll also link this in the description so you can read it yourself. I've read it. With my limited knowledge, basically Nintendo is claiming that Yuzu is circumventing their security measures and allowing pirated software to run on the emulators. And I don't think that's really solid ground for Nintendo, in my opinion. I don't think they have a case. It's because, to my knowledge, I don't think Yuzu is doing anything different compared to other legal emulators out there. I say legal emulators because I think we've all established that emulators are legal after the Sony versus Bleem case. Emulators are legal as long as they don't copy code, use proprietary code. And I don't think, to my knowledge, that Yuzu is copying code from Nintendo. They're not stealing code. They're not using any of that. And they're not using the keys that are required to decrypt the software that Nintendo is saying. So I don't really see how there's a case here. But let's say Nintendo does win this case. What happens to all the other emulators? The decades of emulators that we've had. I think we've had over 30 years of emulators, right? What happens to those? Are they at risk? Would they get shut down? I think Nintendo is only doing this to scare off Yuzu, maybe drag out this court case, spend the millions of dollars, and spend all the money that Yuzu has, and force them to shut down. I think that's a strategy. I think that's a good strategy. If I was in Nintendo's shoes, I would probably do the same thing. But yeah, it is what it is. So my take on emulation. Nintendo says it's only for piracy. I think emulation does facilitate piracy, but that's not the only purpose of it. I think it's emulation is good for us consumers, customers, because if I buy a game, I believe that I own that game. I could play it however, wherever, on whatever I want. But these companies nowadays, they don't want you to think that. They want you to think that they're selling you the game, and they're only selling you the right to play it however they want you to play it. If they want you to play it on that console, that's how you play it. And, if that console goes away, then, yeah, you have to buy that game again on the next console. That's how these companies are thinking right now. They don't want you to believe that you're buying. So buying isn't owning. That's what they're saying, all right? And, for my take, I'm not sure if this is a good example. If I buy a book, I could read that book with the physical book, or I could copy it by handwriting. I could photocopy it. I could scan it and read it on my computer, on my tablet. As long as I don't redistribute it, if I don't resell it, I think I have the right to do that. And I think it's the same for video games. I'm not sure if that's a good comparison. It's kind of like buying a Blu-ray disc as well. If I buy a movie on a Blu-ray disc, it's a little bit different because on a Blu-ray disc, the technology is open technology. So different brands have different Blu-ray players. So if one breaks down, I can still buy a different brand, or maybe you play it on a computer or even on a PS4. I have multiple ways to do that. But for the Nintendo Switch, that game only works on the Nintendo Switch. And if the Nintendo Switch breaks down, which it eventually will, and by past experience, by history, we know that these consoles last for 10 years and they go end of life. They don't produce them anymore. So what happens then? So, I can't use the software that I purchased. So that's why emulation is really useful for us consumers. It's something that we fall back on, right? And if they take that away from us, I think it's going to be a bad day for us gamers. And they also did mention in the documents that Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not sure why they mentioned this, but they did mention that Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not sure why they blame it. They're kind of blaming Yuzu, but it's not Yuzu's fault. Like they say that Tears of the Kingdom was leaked early and it was downloaded over 1 million times. But I don't really see how that's related to Yuzu because Yuzu didn't leak it. They're just an emulator that played it. But they're not the only Switch emulator out there. So kind of weird to me. But yeah, let me know what's your take on this situation. You might not agree. You might think that emulation is illegal and it should be stopped. Yeah, I've had people tell me that. But yeah, that's why it's good. We have different opinions, you know. I'd like to hear what you have to say about this. And yeah, I'll just leave it here. Hope you have a great day. See you in the next one. Later.